music is different here. The vibrations are different. Not like planet Earth. Planet Earth's sound of guns, anger, frustration. There was no one to talk to us on planet Earth, to understand. We set up a colony of black people here. See what they can do on the planet all their own without any white people there. They could drink in the beauty of this planet. Would affect their vibrations, for the better, of course. Another place in the universe, up under different stars. That would be where the altered destiny would come in. Equation-wise, the first thing to do is to consider time as officially ended. We work on the other side of time. We'll bring them here through either isotope teleportation, transmolecularization, or better still, teleport the whole planet here through music.
Artifacts and pieces of ancient technology which shed light on the theory that ancient man was aware, or was at least witnessing, types of technology, the power of flight possibly, and was possibly interacting with what we would call extraterrestrials. And this has been recorded in texts all around the world as interaction with their God. To some of the things that are discussed in the ancient times is even in more recent times, we have things that kind of relate towards, this theory, we call it the ancient astronaut theory, meaning that sometime in the past, astronauts from other planets, other, non-human or possibly human, have visited us. These are being claimed to have been built in 2500 BC by the Egyptian culture, which is great, and not to take anything away from the Egyptian culture. However, the pyramids basically are mapped to a date astronomically, which is 10,500 BC. And this can be scientifically proven because when we use star charts and constellation maps like Redshift and other various software that you can run on your PC, you can track where the stars are going to appear in the sky, both forward in time and backward. And it turns out in 10,500 BC, the pyramids, the three pyramids of Giza, are a terrestrial map of the Orion constellation, and at that same time, the Sphinx, which is the shape of a lion, is staring east into the direct gaze of the Leo constellation, which is a lion. Mm-hmm. So there's a terrestrial alignment taking place with constellations at 10,500 BC so accurately that it kind of boggles modern science to accept that these possibly the pyramids and the Sphinx are much, much older than what we currently postulate. And so like a helicopter, some spacecraft. It's very clearly an anomalous description of what we would currently see today in our arsenal of flying vehicles.
Now, let me stop you there. What kind of, because I've seen that picture, it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's spelled ABYDOS, in case anybody wants to search for it on Google. I'm sure they'll come up with an image of it. And it's not only like a helicopter. There's one that looks like a Cessna. There's one that looks like a blimp. There's one that looks, and it's all right there that you can see all on the same plate. What kind of research has been done on this, or is it just a given that those are hieroglyphics on the wall and that's it?
Well, there's the discrepancy of one simple stopping point, the extraterrestrial line, meaning no modern academia or archaeologist still will accept today that we've been visited by extraterrestrials, period.
I stopped in usually to buy coffee and make a small chit-chat with the young lady who would ring me up. She was from Ethiopia, and I never really said much, just, how you doing? It looks like it's going to be a nice day today. But this particular morning I was in there, it was really, really different. And something was telling me, tell her about your sister's experience of going to Mars and being told that black people dominate that planet. And I said, okay, I don't want to do this. I was like, I don't know her that well. I don't know what she's going to think of me, and she's going to think I'm crazy. And I just didn't feel comfortable doing that because she was virtually a stranger with the exception of just, making small chit-chat when I saw her each morning. But it was unrelenting. It would not stop. And so I just gave in because the feeling was so powerful and so overwhelming and so unrelenting. So I just blurted it all out, and she said, she didn't bat an eye. She said, oh, yes, that's true. It's in our history books back in Ethiopia. Our ancestors came from the planet Mars. As a matter of fact, I could have my mother send from my history book back in Ethiopia for you to see. I couldn't read Ethiopian, but I was like, what? I had to have her repeat it. I was just really, really shocked. I couldn't believe it. But she repeated it. I heard it correctly. So a few months passed by. I went to a lady who had an African dress shop in an area of Dallas called Wynwood Village. And she was older than the first young lady, and this woman, the older woman, was from Nigeria. So I thought, well, let me pose this question to her and this scenario, see what kind of feedback she can give me. She's older and elder. She might be able to really enlighten me on this subject. And indeed, she did. I told her the same story about my sister's experience of going to Mars and what she was told. And she said, yes, this is true. Our ancestors came from the planet Mars, and they settled in what they call Africa to mine the gold because it was most plentifully found there. But because of the influence of Islam and Christianity, all that had been suppressed and went underground. She said you could not talk about these things anymore as both of these religions emerged on the continent. So she said if you go into some of the villages today and talk to some of the elders, you can still see shrines to this very day dedicated to our ancestors from the planet Mars.
That's amazing.
Oh, George, I tell you, it was so amazing. I felt like Alex Haley. You remember the movie and the book Roots, when he goes back and traces his ancestry to Africa? But I was now being told of an ancestry that went beyond our planet, that all the way reached to another planet. And it was just so phenomenal. And I felt like, this is, I'm getting a link to a galactic family that we've never had before. And it made me realize how successful the slave traders had been in cutting off all our knowledge of our history and our knowledge of ourselves and our religions and our culture and everything, because all of this she was telling me was what was passed down through oral traditions in Africa. And she said, but if you talk to young people in Africa today, they don't know this. She said, because they are either Muslim or Christian, and that is not a part of the origin story.
What?
He didn't know where Elijah came from because he didn't have a mother or father and didn't want to tell you about man incarnating on the planet Earth, so they said he's a Teshbite. And then they tried to look up Teshbite, it became a place. They thought about Melchizedek. They didn't know what he was, or where he came from. He said he had neither mother nor father, no beginning of that. We don't know who he is, but he had to be a man. You follow that? Because they cannot deal with the fact that we are incarnation. Incarnate means we came from someplace else. The star Sirius out there that they talk about in the Beta star constellation is where we're looking up.
The Dogon have endured and preserved mysterious ancient knowledge. Knowledge of an invisible star and its movements through the heavens.
One believes the universe was born in a vast explosion, and as it opened up, everything that we know about and everything that the Dogon know about in the world came pouring out, and nothing was left except a shell. And this empty shell became the star that they call the Pontolo, and that we call Sirius B.
In 1950, astronomers confirmed the existence of the Dogon star. Dogon knowledge of the dark star. The symbols reveal more information about the celestial universe. They correctly place the Earth and our solar system within the Milky Way and state correctly that the massive cluster of stars is far more distant than the planets. The The understanding of astronomical movements led the Dogon to investigate the human anatomy. They discovered the circulation of blood in the body long before it was discovered by the English physician William Harvey in the 17th century. These symbols and the knowledge they hold are the legacy of the mysterious pneumos, the messengers from the dark star.
But if you merge the energy, you see that the energy is forming a big blue triangle. The triangle is in what sign? Earth sign. Earth. That's interesting because now we're dealing with land. That shows you if we just marry the energy. And one thing about the Moors and the war is, that's the last time that you went on record at war and actually whooped these Europeans' ass. So you need to understand the cosmic shifts that was going on then, and since I just showed you, it's the same thing playing out now, you need to learn how to marry that. Therefore, you see this. See, the ancestors gonna speak. They gonna speak through signs and symbols. They gonna show you what you should be doing, all right?
There's a movie out now. It's not a movie you go to the show and see. It's one you can get. We do sell it also. It's called about the sister on the moon. It consists of a 1.5 billion year old spaceship which they found on the moon, driven by a black woman. A 1.5 billion year old, 3/4 of a mile spaceship driven by a black woman. Now, Fred, I was with you, but you should have said that when we were ready to go. Now I'm ready to go. Don't leave yet. This is the beginning. That says, if it's true, a lot of things. First of all, that the moon was around here 1.5 billion years ago, at least. That there were spaceships that could go to the moon, and there were black people on the moon, and each one was a female. Now, they have found heads of robots and androids that look Negroid on the moon. They have found in the United States, in Africa, the same kind of a head of a black woman that you see on Mars.
Well, Earthlings, you just want to speak of realities, no myths. Well, I'm the myth talking to you. So it's farewell.